And a big part of that, right, is going to be the quality of the foods they're seeking out as well, right? Rather than just the stuff they're taking away, it's the stuff they're then adding in. I feel like that's really empowering for people as well. And I find it's more
Yep.
effective to go, right, we're going to seek out these foods. We're going to eat more steak, for example. We're going to hit a protein target. And that's a big thing, right? And the research shows that now as well. You know, you need to have at least 25, I would say, well, 20%. I think another thing, I had Dr. Ted Nyman on. He said, I think 20% minimum, bare minimum. If Americans could get 20% of their diet minimum from protein, good quality sources, that would turn things around, right? Similar to the low carb thing you were saying there. But more than that is optimal, right? And protein
Yep.
boosts your appetite. And then naturally, they're getting all the essential nutrients they need as well when they eat things like steak, right?
Yep, exactly. And I love Ted Naiman, and I have great respect for him. I consider him a friend, but we disagree on several things, which is
Yeah, I can
fine.
imagine you do. I was thinking that. I can imagine you've had some.
Yeah, we're all trying to rediscover a proper human diet together. That's what we're doing because we've forgotten as a species. We've forgotten how to eat. So I would disagree with Dr. Naiman in that I don't even think the quality of the protein matters as long as it's an animal protein. And I'll give you an example. I've had multiple people who were eating a proper human diet, meat heavy keto or carnivore, doing amazing, hitting every one of their health goals, right? And then they lost their job. And now money's an issue. They can't afford grass fed, grass finished steaks. And I've had at least 20 guys say, dude, I couldn't afford it anymore. And so I remembered what you said about any meat is better than no meat. And so I just made my carnivore diet. I made it up out of 70/30 ground beef that you can buy cheap. I bought eggs in bulk, like 36 at a time, 3 dozen at a time. I bought bologna. I bought hot dogs. I bought the cans of tuna and the cans of salmon. And that was my carnivore diet. And my health maybe wasn't perfection, but it wasn't bad at all. And I saved a ton of money. And I had so many guys tell me that story that I made a YouTube video called Cheap Carnivore. And I think that as long as the protein is from an animal source, it's a quality protein. I think the argument about quality of protein really should only hinge on, is it animal protein or is it plant protein? Because I think that's what makes the difference between quality and inferior.
100%, yeah. And I was just thinking that it's splitting hairs, really. As long as it's animal protein, bioavailable, good balance of amino acids, you're not going to go wrong, right? When you're hitting consistently having, let's say 30 to 40% of your calories, or we could just say like a number, just to round it off, a gram per pound of body weight, even, right? If people do that consistently, I don't see people fall when they're doing that consistently, providing I still 100% am certain that, if they're having too much ultra processed foods, like, for example, people having protein bars and stuff like that and getting, processed protein ultimately
Yep.
and having all those chemicals with it, they make worse
Yep.
decisions. I've just seen all those patterns.
Oh, absolutely. I totally agree. And anytime I say that hot dogs are a health food, I always lose a few people. They're like, what the hell did he just say? Oh, that's it. I can't listen to him. No, that's blasphemy. It's like, think about it. Stop and think. What are hot dogs? They're ground up meat, spices, and salt. Now, sometimes they put some crap ingredients in there, but if you read labels and find a good quality hot dog, it's cheap and it's literally ground up meat. There's nothing wrong with that. Same for sausage, same for bologna, same for spam. If all you can afford is spam, do you guys have spam in Australia?
I haven't seen it here much, but back in the UK where I'm from, it's everywhere. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, spam, potted meat, deviled ham.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
stuff
yeah.
is ground up meat, salt, and spices. It is 1,000 times better for you than the most expensive bread or breakfast cereal in the supermarket. That makes it a health food. Is it perfect? No. But is it way the hell better than any other option? Yes. If all you can afford is hot dogs and bologna and spam and potted meat and deli meat, wear it out. You can do great carnivore on that.
I'd love to pick your brains on omega-3 as well. We touched on that earlier. There's some debates
Sure.
on this, right? You need to take fish oils. You got to eat salmon, otherwise you can't get enough in. Can you actually get enough in just from having grass-fed beef, right? Can you get adequate amounts? How does that work? I'm not adequate.
So,
Forget about adequate, optimal amounts.
yep. So the great example, I always do this mental exercise. Let's go back in time 100,000 years, Martin. Was there such a thing as an omega-3 supplement?
Hell
No.
no.
No, of course not. But somehow, not only were we vigorous enough not to die, we reproduced and we were grandfathers and grandmothers. We're here. each of us who's alive at this minute in time, we are the uninterrupted success. We're a winner to even be here
It's a
because there are
miracle,
so many
an absolute
that are
miracle.
absolute miracle that we're here. But I would say it's not just a miracle. It's also that we honored our biology and we ate a proper human diet back then. We played in the sun. We drank clean water. We breathed clean air. We need to mimic that. And so I don't think I'm not a big fan of supplements at all, as opposed to some of the gurus out there whose income hinges on them selling lots of supplements. They think you need lots of supplements. I don't think you need hardly any supplements at all if you're eating on the proper human diet spectrum where you belong. Pastured eggs, the yolk of an egg has a good supply of omega-3s. Pastured beef, pastured chicken, pastured pork, they all have a decent supply of omega-3. But for most of our history, we got omega-3s from fish, from seafood. And very, very often you would just notice in archaeology, we always lived near a coastline. We can't live near a coastline now sometimes, but we do have refrigerated trucks and refrigerated airplanes. So you can always eat seafood. And then of course, there's so many yeah buts, right? Yeah, but what about the mercury, right? So what you're going to do to avoid the mercury is you're going to eat smaller fish. When you eat the gigantic carnivore fish, those are the ones that have accumulated enough mercury for it to be a problem for your health. And so that's why the cans of cheap tuna are actually better for you than that big slab of beautiful red salmon, because that salmon or that tuna or that swordfish, that big
Predator.
steak of
The
fish,
predators consume way more metals.
he's eaten many, many hundreds of thousands of more fish, and all that mercury got concentrated. But the cans of tuna and the cans of salmon are basically the scrap tuna and the scrap salmon. They're not big enough to make that big, beautiful steak or the big, beautiful filet. So they grind it up and put it in a can. They're much smaller fish. So they're going to, by definition, have a lower load of mercury and also be cheap. And so seafood is the way to get the omega-3s. Just eat all the fish, all the crustaceans, all the shellfish.
Love it, love it. So do you consume fish yourself?
Oh yeah, every chance I get, and to be honest, it's probably once a week.
Yeah.
But I've got cod liver in the tin in a can. I've got salmon in the can. I've got tuna in the can. Just whatever I'm in the mood for. Sardines in the can. Sardines are an ultimate omega-3 superfood.
100%.
Right? If you want to take a multivitamin, eat a can of cod liver and a can of sardines with the bones in and the skin on once a week. Boom. That's it. There's no multivitamin on planet Earth that's going to give you more nutrition than a can of cod liver and a can of sardines once a week.
I love sardines as well. You just made me think I need to bring them back in. Thing is, only thing I eat is just grass-fed beef and beef liver and eggs for my, protein source, if you like, and just for most of my nutrients and meat. So really, you think most people have thrived by having, those. We've got salmon, tuna, sardines. Well, oysters are up there as well, right? But the top three for omega-3, and even once or twice a week, you're going to get a massive hit, right, of omega-3s.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then all the vitamins and minerals, all the iodine that comes from the ocean, the cheap little sardine, which I don't know if you've ever had them fresh. Man, they're so amazing. Now, in a can, they're not great, but I can stomach them because I know what a multivitamin, multi-mineral they are. They're literally a superfood.